2023 is coming to a close, so today I thought it was time for me to stop and rank all of the 2023 comic book films, ranked from the worst to the best. Please know that everything that I will say in this video is just my very own opinion. My name is SWNation, and you are free to rank all of the 2023 comic book films ranked from the worst to the best, just like me. Or you could just do your favor. You can add in some animated DC films. I know the Tomorrowverse has been going crazy this year. But also, in this list, I'm only incorporating Marvel and DC, and Sony, and even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. I'm not incorporating all that other stuff like Silent Night or Cease. I'm not incorporating all that other stuff. I don't got the time. It's not that. It's just that I haven't seen some of those movies. I have seen Silent Night, but I haven't seen, Sisu or anything like that. So I don't really want to go back and watch all of those movies just to make this list. I would rather just keep it simple. Marvel, DC, Sony, and Ninja Turtles. With all that out the way, like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right into our ranking. Number 9 is AntMan and the Wasp: Quantumania. Just a very big disappointment to me. It's a shame that the best thing about this film is Jonathan Majors Kang, because this movie has so much going for it. It has so much hype behind it, but they lost all of that hype once they introduced the next big bad of their multiverse saga in an Ant-Man movie. That's number 1. But also number 2, you have him get defeated by ants. Every single thing that made this guy menacing is all undone by the end of the movie because you have him defeated by ants. And if Ant-Man can defeat Kang the Conqueror, then why do we need a whole Avengers team to defeat Kang? The movie has some cool world building, but overall, it just has this forgettableness to it. And it feels like the distant cousin to the Ant-Man franchise, because those movies were more heist movies, and this one is a big sci-fi blockbuster. Number 8 is The Marvels. I don't hate this movie. I think this one is pretty good, actually. I had a lot of fun with it. Kamala Khan is the greatest part about it. I think Brie Larson is coming into her own as Carol Danvers in the role, and I love Monica. She has this everyday woman attitude, and it allows the audience to kind of relate to her a bit. I think the problem here lies in the fact that we do have a forgettable villain, and the story isn't the best. I wouldn't say that you would have to watch Ms. Marvel or WandaVision to understand the Marvels, because, they kind of retread those shows in like 10 seconds. This movie doesn't do anything to offend me. It's just fun, but at what cost? 7, Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I think this is the one comic book film that everyone forgets came out this year because it bombed so bad, but Shazam: Fury of the Gods is not a bad movie. I think it tries, The original characters, I fairly much like them. Though I would have liked to see Mr. Mind, or whatever that Caterpillar's name is, in the future installment, or Black Adam at least. But I think the original characters work for the story that they were going for. But I do think that if Zachary Levi was the best part about the first Shazam, he is the worst part about this film. Because whereas Asher Angel, the actual Billy Batson, he's grown up now. He's 18. Asher Angel plays Billy Batson as an 18-year-old. Zachary Levi still plays Shazam, but 18-year-old Billy Batson as Shazam still as a 13-year-old. So Zachary Levi has a great way of playing this man-child, but in the context of the film, it does not work because Shazam is way more immature than the actual Billy Batson. And I definitely believe that there should be some similarities between the two. When they map out more of the mythology and bringing in dragons and also the original characters, the Sisters of Atlas, that's all great. But you lost something special there when you aged Billy up. Number 6, The Flash. The Flash is great. I like The Flash. Ezra Miller's controversies aside, I think he works as the Flash in this movie, not better than Grant Gustin. But you can't really compare the two because this is the Flash of the DCU. That's the Flash of the Arrowverse. Two completely different characters, two completely different contexts, but playing the same comic character. But Ezra Miller works in the movie great. Like, their acting is incredible. I love the scene where he has to say goodbye to his mother again. All of the emotional moments hit, and when you kind of get down to the fact that it's a story about a man that has the powers to go back in time to stop the one tragedy that took both of his parents away from him, and wanting to have more time with both of them. I love that aspect. And then you group him up with the 1989 Batman. Michael Keaton seems like he wants to be there. He seems like he wants to be on set. And then you also have Sasha Calle's Supergirl roped into the mix. This movie is great. It has some great things about it. Unfortunately, though, the CGI is a big part about this movie, and the CGI kind of falters a bit. Even though Andy Muschietti said that it was intentional, at the end of the day, just because it was intentional does not mean that it makes it good. Kicking off our top 5 list is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. The last film in the DCEU and the last comic book film of 2023 doesn't really disappoint for me. I really didn't have any big problems with this movie. It ends off the DCEU in a whimper, quote unquote, but at the end of the day, you can't really compare it because it wasn't supposed to be the end of the DCEU. It wasn't meant to be the end of the DCEU. But I think Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom was a fun ride, very enjoyable, and it serves as a nice follow-up to the original Aquaman film. And this time, we're kind of getting more of the connections between the brothers. And I like Orm and Arthur way more than I like Mera and Arthur. And seeing how Orm kind of mistook Arthur for something else and kind of relating to him a bit. I love that about this movie. And the action scenes were pretty great. I thought Black Manta bringing in the villain from the first film was great as well. But it's a tale of two movies where it could either go into the drama Shakespearean levels of The Last Bloodline, we need Arthur's son for this, or buddy cop comedy. They went to the buddy cop comedy realm, and you know what? It's good enough. It's what I expected. I can't get disappointed if my expectations were already this low. 4 is Blue Beetle. I think the best thing about this movie is the fact that it focuses on the family aspects. Yeah, you have some similarities between Iron Man and Ant-Man. You know, the whole plot is essentially those two movies, you know, the big corporations and both of these Blue Beetle suits fighting each other. One's a different color, the other one's a different color. If you look at the similarities, it's really a more heartfelt Ant-Man. But you know, when I use that word heartfelt, I don't use it lightly because the movie has so much heart surrounding the family that you feel by the end of the film that you are a part of the family. The emotional moments hit hard. I love the fact that they are the most valuable players in the final battle. The movie excels because it's low stakes and it's more personal, but it does feel very generic. Kicking off my top 3 list is Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Just a delightful film. It's not only for the Turtle fans, but also some newcomers because it just has enough entertainment and charm to appeal to the younger audience viewers. But also, it has that nostalgia factor for the older fans like me and even some people in their 30s. The Turtles are actually treated like actual teenagers. They act like actual teenagers. They have actual teenage problems. They want to go to high school. They want to get girlfriends. And I think that's a nice change of pace from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but not really teenagers. They are adults. They just have the name Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the rest of the films that we've seen before this. So actually putting the teenage in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was actually a nice change of pace for this film. And likewise, it's compared to Spider-Verse with the animation style, but it does something different and unique with it, unlike anything I've ever seen before as well. I would say my only problems here is that I have issues with the ending. I don't like the idea of our Ninja Turtles going to high school. I get it. That was the main point of the story. That was the main part of their arcs. But the fact that they actually put on teenagers' clothes and then walk into high school and are accepted by everybody. I like the idea that the Turtles are the ones who saved the city and they are hated by everybody in the city, except for April or Casey. But overall, just a very delightful film. My runner-up at number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It serves as a nice trilogy conclusion for these characters as well as these actors. I love the farewell to these characters, and James Gunn didn't have to have anybody die for it to be a satisfying conclusion to all of the Guardians arcs. You kind of finally realize that Drax was never meant to be a destroyer. He was meant to be a father. And I love all of that. I'm tired of people doubting this man because he was able to perfectly land this franchise with an emotional punch without having to kill off anybody. We get more insight on Rocket, making him one of, if not the most traumatic, but also interesting characters in the MCU. Overall, this movie is great. It's hard for me to have negatives about it. I would say the one thing that's off about it to me is the fact that they have animal cruelty in it, and I'm not really that big of a fan of animal cruelty, but it works for showing the trauma that Rocket went through that overall promotes his arc. So, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is just a really great film, man. It's a great conclusion to this trilogy. But coming in at my number one for me has got to go to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the long-awaited sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, which is a movie that I really do like, but at the same time, I've seen it so many times, so it's like I'm sick of watching it. This movie, though, while I was watching it in the theaters, every time when I thought the movie was going to end, it never did. It kept going, and it kept going. And each time it kept going, I was like, oh, please don't stop. Please don't stop. This is so good. This is so good. Like, I was so engrossed in the story of this film. The animation, again, they just keep topping themselves and doing some incredible things that you have never seen before on screen, but also just the overall story with the multiverse and how it makes more sense than most of the MCU multiversal stories today. If Into the Spider-Verse was about anybody can wear the mask, this film is about how you wear that mask. It pushes the boundaries of animation. The soundtrack is epic. Dude, I love this movie. If it's not Creed 3, this is probably my favorite movie of 2023. It's also my favorite Spider-Man film. It's the best, in my opinion, period. It's one of the best movies, period. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse has to come in at number 1. Alright guys, that is it for the ranking. Please know that everything that I did say in this video was just my very own opinion, and you're free to comment down below your very own ranking of all of the 2023 comic book films ranked from the worst to the best, just like me, or you could just do your favorite. Please don't forget to check out that Twitter. That link is in the description, as well as that Marvel and DC playlist. Those links are in the description as well. Also, if you want to add in, Sisu or Silent Night or any of those other comic book movies that came out this year that you wouldn't know are comic book films, put those into the list as well. With that being said, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Ninja Turtles ranking. I've done that on the channel. Spider-Man movies ranked. I've done that on the channel as well. Go search the channel. They're on there. All of that out of the way. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all next time. Peace.